Okay. All right. We are live.
Hey, Kim.
Okay. Hey, everybody.
I miss
Ladies.
you. You can do it from your phone.
Okay. Let me get on here.
Well, we gotta come closer together then. Saraya. Hello. We're gonna
All
tag
right.
team
We are
you.
live on Facebook and on StreamYard. All right, y'all. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm getting some feedback. So can everybody go on mute until we're absolutely ready? I'm hearing a lot of noise. There you go. There you go. Good evening, world. My name is V. Richardson, and we have put the band back together. This all literally happened this afternoon, where myself, Kim, Jamie, Mary, and Soraya, who were part of a podcast, if you will recall, last election cycle. And we have been talking about putting this band back together for a minute. And we did it, and we are here. We are in Virginia, and we are in Seattle, Washington. All right. So I'm going to ask Mary to come up. Mary was the architect of our first group and first podcast. What is that, 4 years ago? I can't even remember. I can't count. But I'm going to let Mary come up and reintroduce us, and then we're going to get it going. We're not going to keep you long, but we got some important stuff to say. Mary?
Hey, everybody. It's Mary here. And yes, we got the band back together again. It's good to see my beautiful ladies here today. We have up at the top of your screen, if it looks like mine, just wave and say hi. V. Richardson. We have Kimberly. We have Jamie. And we have Soraya. And she's going to represent the young folk because y'all need to know what they got to say. And I'm Mary. So we're just going to dive deep real quick, and we'll be coming to you on a weekly basis. But today we just needed to kind of get in contact with you all.
Jamie, would you go ahead and reintroduce yourself to everyone?
Hi, my name is Jamie Neidig, and I am a workforce strategist. I am here on my own, representing me, just me, not my job, but I'm very excited to talk with you about certain aspects of Project 2025, which should send a chill down everyone's back. And I'm not generally one who thinks we need to be alarmist, but Project 2025, I'll give you the forefront so everybody else can talk about them, is number one, to restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. This is from the Heritage Foundation. And when they say family, what they mean are white Christian families. They don't mean families like mine that's led by a woman. They don't mean families that include the LGBT community. They are also looking at all different things that would change the way families operate. We all know that our abortion rights are gone, and they're going to be going after IUDs next. And then eventually, they will come for birth control, which will essentially remove women from the workforce once again. Number two, they want to dismantle the administrative state and return self-governance to the American people. That sounds great on paper, right? What they really mean is replacing our civil servants, our career government officials who serve the American people. And there's all sorts of studies, which I won't take your time out, but if you leave a quick chat, I'll send it to you, shows there's no such thing as a deep state. Federal careerists serve under each president to the best of their abilities. What they want is to create a government full of political appointees who are cronies and to dismantle the federal government as we know it. They want to create a government that does not work so they can point to it and say, see, this doesn't work. Department of Education will be gone. All these important things that help our workforce to remain competitive and our families to thrive will be gone. Number three, defend our nation's sovereignty, borders, and bounty against global threats. I mean, we all know Obama was the deporter in chief. We have lots of Democrats who are very deportation friendly. What this really means, though, is going after people who have been here for a very long time, who are paying taxes, and who are contributing to our economic growth. And number four, secure our God-given individual right to live freely, what our Constitution calls the blessing of liberty. I am a Christian woman. I am very proud of my Christian faith, but I don't want anybody's Christian faith running our government. Do you want the Bible taught in school? I mean, to me, it sounds great on paper until you consider it may not be the way you read the Bible. So I'm Jamie. I introduced the 4 things that are in Project 2025, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleagues.
Thank you, Jamie. And last but certainly not least, Kimberly, please reintroduce yourself to everyone.
Follow up after that. Thank you, Jamie. I'm an executive director and small business owner. I represent myself. I am as bipartisan as I can be. I elect the person, not the party. And given the state of our country, especially in the last 5 or 6 years, it has been deeply concerning because we have moved away from party politics and now it's individualistic. And that poses a huge problem to democracy. And I think everyone needs to be present in this process. I don't care what your position is, but showing up is the only solution. So vote like your life depends on it, because it's not just your life, it's our life and your future children's lives.
Thank you, ladies, for reintroducing yourselves. I don't think I introduced myself. Hey, my name is V. Richardson. I am a 24-year resident of Loudoun County, Virginia. I am a former elected official, first Black woman ever elected onto the Leesburg Town Council. And I am now a political strategist. I help women win elections. And I am also a business owner. My company is called the V-List Brand Inc. And I help small businesses hire the best talent on the planet. I'm a recruiter. And I'm a lot of other things. But one of the main things I am right now is a crusader for diversity, equity, and inclusion and justice. And I will not sit around and allow 45 to become president of the United States again. Not on my watch. And I am making myself perfectly clear that these are my comments and my feelings. And women, we have to speak up right now. I don't want to hear anybody else talking about they are scared and fearful. Ain't nothing to be scared and fearful about right now. Our duty is to get out the vote and talk about what women and all of us need to do to keep this man out of office. Period. Ain't nothing to be scared of on this planet. We hold the power. We are voters. And that's what we're here to talk about tonight. Mary?
Yes, so I'm going to let Ms. Raya here kind of introduce herself to the people real quick.
Hi, everybody. My name is Raya. I'm just here to spread information, correct, factual information to, inform the public. And these are my own individual thoughts and opinions.
Not influenced by me. So I just wanted to say, I know like within the group and within different arenas that I've kind of looked at on Facebook, somebody touched on people being scared. And this is not a time for us to be scared. This is a time for us to get to work. And the one way you can stop being fearful is stop listening to the other side. We need to stop trying to make them see our side. We need to stop trying to influence them, because they're not going to be influenced at this point. It's a waste of your time, it's a waste of your energy, and it's a waste of just your emotional, your emotional being. So our suggestion is to really get in and start to volunteer into communities that can really use your support, and talk to those people and reach out to those people and write postcards and text messages and phone calls with the organizations that need that help, to reach the people who don't want to vote because they don't feel like there's a good candidate, to reach those people who are not registered to vote, because we don't have very much time to do that. So that should be first and foremost. And then to reach those people who want to vote third party. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a third party. I'm not saying anything like that. But at this point, a third party vote is a wasted vote. I'm just going to be honest. 12, if somebody's going to steal 12%, that's what it is. They're stealing 12% of the vote to just prove a point. We already know we need other candidates. We already know that. We already know that we need people. We need to be looking for the next 4 years, 2028, to get people ready for that. But right now we have to work with what we have. And that is, we've got Trump and we've got Biden. You've got to make a decision. And a third party person, although it's cute, is not the answer.
Thanks,
Building on
Mary.
what Mary said too, if third party vote is putting Trump in office. So it's basically a vote against democracy. Democracy is at stake. If you want to have an opportunity for a third party vote to mean something in the future, and I absolutely do, the time now is to keep Biden in office and sustain the republic. The republic is at stake. You may recall when General Maddox resigned as SecDef and sent his very harshly worded but polite letter to Trump. The phrase was, "a republic if you can keep it." The republic is at stake, but this is nothing to be scared of. If we vote, we win. But if you want a third party, now is not the election. I'm sorry. We have to operate within the confines of reality.
I think it's just about understanding how politics truly works. I think, education, we talk about it a lot in many different forms, but I don't think people really understand the true value of education. Starting with knowing how your government operates, not just from a macro level of we're voting for a president, but before we even get to this point, you should have been involved in every single layer that leads up to the presidency. Your local officials, school board, your representatives, everyone that is involved in touching the political environment within your state. That's the first thing. Then knowing how those elected officials impact the laws and the policies and can advocate for you on the Hill. I think people put, and it really shows their lack of true understanding when you say Biden is not doing anything for us. Biden is against us. Biden, I would not vote for. If you understand politics and how your country operates, then you understand you're not voting technically for Biden. Biden is an individual. He is a person. He is a representative. But you're voting for what he represents. And that's everyone below him that is going to impact you on a local level. And that is what you're voting for. You're voting for the policies that your senators and your congressmen advocate for. You're voting for your AG offices. All of these different areas you're voting for when you select the party. Biden is not perfect by any means, but I need anyone to comment and say what president since the history of our country has been perfect. We have always had some level of issue with our presidents, but that was not the focus. You are allowing the conversation and the branding of this time to make you believe that the focus needs to be on the person. And so because you have issues with Biden, don't vote for him. And what I would charge everyone to do, and I'm going to speak frankly, is to get off your ass and get off social media and educate yourself about what is truly happening in our country and how you can make a difference. That is what I would like to see our brothers and sisters, especially, charge themselves to do. You have been handed a very important task right now. And that is, like Jamie said, to save our democracy, but also to not let the 100 years worth of work that your grandparents, your great grandparents, your aunts and uncles have fought for and died for you to sit your ass on the corner and say, I'm just not going to make a selection because I don't like the person. You sound stupid. And I know that we are not stupid. I know that we are brilliant, but I would charge all of us to use our brilliance and be strategic and make a choice that is going to at least keep us in the game so that next go round, we can start doing the work. Not at the next presidency, but before we get to that point, start doing the work.
I want to piggyback on something Kim said about um, not only focusing on the presidential race. The presidential race for me is a distraction. Who we should be paying attention to are our locally elected officials. Okay. We just held a congressional election in Congressional District 10, which is Loudoun County and others. And we had 12 candidates running for one seat. And what I am still highly perturbed about is that no women came in top three, not one. That's unacceptable in 2024. I don't want to see that crap no more. Okay? So pay attention to your local elections. Who's on your town council? Who's on your city council? Who is the treasurer? Who is the board of supervisors? Okay, those are the people that are affecting you first. Before we even get to Congress and the U.S. Senate, okay, you need to know who's in your backyard. Can you name one of the 12 candidates that just ran in CD10? Can you name two? Shame on you if you can. Who'd you vote for? Don't do it, people. Life is too short. This work is too important. The objectives are register to vote, then vote. The other objective is rile up as many 18-year-olds as you can find, because guess what? They're going to be putting on our depends and wheeling us around in the wheelchairs very soon. And watch out for the Gen Zs, and especially watch out for them Gen Alphas that are on the way. Them Gen Alphas, they don't give a crap what y'all talking about. They are going to do and act and say whatever they want to say and whatever they want to do. And they want to know how this country is going to benefit them. Also, the parents of the Zs and the Alphas and some millennials are the ones out here supporting Project 2025. You better know it. Know who your neighbors are. Know what they're doing. It's too important. Too important, Mary, Soraya.
I'll let you say something.
I don't think there's anything left to say.
Well, I know that there's a lot of important things. Things that hit home for me are, what are we leaving? Like Vanessa said, those Gen Zs and the Alphas, and what are we doing? What are we leaving them? What type of legacy? What are we handing off to them? And what is that going to look like for their children? That's what my concern is right now. What am I leaving my kids? What are my grandkids walking into? And what are my great grandkids going to be walking into? That's really concerning to me, because as far as I can go back into my generation, we've always fought. We've had to fight for rights. We had to fight to sit at counters, to drink out of water, certain water fountains, to have our kids go to school. We've always had to fight. It's always been some type of fight, a fight to have a certain type of job, a fight to break the glass ceiling, a fight to make a certain amount of income, a fight to be able to take your family to live in a certain community. We've always fought. So what type of fight now are we leaving our kids? Because this is a dirty fight. This is a nasty, dirty fight. And honestly, I don't feel comfortable with leaving this to them to fight. So like Kim said, y'all need to dust off your seats and I'm saying it in a nicer way, but you need to get off your behind and you need to get out and you need to canvas, find some organizations to work with, find something, do something instead of complaining, because if you're complaining, you're not working. Change your mindset, feed your mind with other things, let go of the negativity, because what you think, you process, and what you process, you start to feel, and what you feel, you'll believe. And if you don't change your mindset, if you continue to live in fear, you're going to be fearful, full of fear. And I choose not to live that way.
But the sad part about it, Mary, is that one thing I've always said is that while everything that has happened again in the last few years, I am disgusted by, the one thing I will give, the GOP Trump credit for is their marketing team has been phenomenal. They have convinced half of this country that things that are completely not even made up, but things that aren't even common sense to be true. The saddest part, however, is that they have convinced the people that are the most at risk and the most victimized by the lies that they're not, in fact, lies.
And the most
that
vulnerable.
They should support it. And the most vulnerable. And that's the crazy part about it. So, I love Michelle Obama, and I said it before. She said, when they go low, we go high, but I'm so sorry. We need to start going low.
Yeah, we got to stop being.
We need to start getting in the gutter and doing the work and fighting in the way that we are being fought, because this is not the time. And I hate to see young people being convinced that this is the method and the way to go. We are restructuring their thought process about how our government needs to operate, not how it's operating, but how it is supposed to operate. And that's a scary place to be, because if we don't have a clear, concise direction on where we're heading and then there's no possible way that we could ever come together and figure out how to get there. And that's a scary place to exist. And that is where we are.
Yeah, I have to agree with that marketing piece and how they sit there to convince. But see, I'm also reminded of what the word says. And the Bible clearly states that in the last days, men would be lovers of themselves. And at some point, God's going to give them over to a reprobated mind, which means there's no convincing, there's no trying to appease, negotiate, or network with, and the hearts will be turned to stone. I'm telling that is why I'm not even wasting my time, because what people, one thing I want to interject, one thing that I saw, and I told you ladies about this, when they hauled Bannon off to jail, he said they allowed this man to have a press conference. He actually said that whether Trump gets in office or not, that Project 2025 and MAGA will continue. You know why? Because it's a movement. It's something that they believe in, and they're not going to stop. So if you're fearful now, you might as well get ready to live in fear for the rest of your life, because this is not going to stop. And the reason why it's not going to stop is because there's no one standing up to the mess. Like Kim said, there's no one standing up to it. There's no one taking on the fight. And as whether you're a Democrat, third party, what, it doesn't even make a difference anymore. It's time for everybody to get together and figure out how can we come against all of the lies that are there's so much lies till they believe it themselves. It's past the point of just telling a lie. Like, you believe it so much so that others are following you in the same. It's like the blind leading the blind.
I do have a quote I wanted to share from Paul Dance, who is a former Trump administration official who's director of Project 25's Presidential Transition Project. And this is a quote from him. "Our goal is to assemble an army of aligned, vetted, trained, and prepared conservatives to go to work on day one to deconstruct the administrative state. What they mean is tear down a government that is apolitical and serves the American people." And that is something that we should all be afraid of. First of all, I don't know where you're going to get all these appointees who are actually trained on day one. We can't fill the political appointees we have now, but we're looking at tens of thousands of workers, and in favor of hiring ones who will adhere to the law and adhere to the people and just do their jobs. They want to hire ones who will adhere to the conservative principles of Project 2025. So I know, I mean, that gives me chills, but it shouldn't be scary because there's more of us than there are of them. We can just vote. All we need to do is vote. And is Biden my first choice? No. Somebody get Kamala over here to take care of this, because I get her and Ms. Marvel confused because they're both superheroes to me. But we can outvote them. This isn't this hard. Is Biden my ideal candidate? No. Did he screw up that debate royally? Yes. It was worse than my hair choices in the 1990s. Yes, I feel like he was over-prepped, he was exhausted, he was sick. It was a disaster. But we are not, to Kim's point, voting just for Biden to make every decision. We are voting for a platform. Is the platform you want Project 2025, or is it democracy? Because those are the choices, to Kim's point. This is not, you're not marrying the president. Think of it more as you're going on a trip. You're getting on a train. One goes the direction you want to go, and the other goes the direction none of us want to go.
I mean, what was the name of the show we used to watch back in the 70s and 80s? It's Just a Bill. I mean, do we need to revive these?
Schoolhouse
Rock.
Schoolhouse Rock. I mean, I don't understand. Like, we do not have the basic concept of voting and policy and how the government operates. And, you know, when we grew up, every Saturday morning, we got a nice little lesson in cartoon form with a nice rhyme at the end of It's Just a Bill. I mean,
I think I'm gonna post It's Just a Bill from Schoolhouse Rock after this video, because the younger generations don't know what we're talking about. I don't even know if Soraya knows what we're talking about, but that's how we learned the preamble. I know the preamble by heart because it's Schoolhouse Rock. Come on. So we don't have any of that anymore. I want to mention one thing. I want to put my recruiter hat on right now, and then I'm going to ask Jamie to put her hat on, her similar labor economist hat on after I speak. But I want you all to realize that a part of Project 2025, like Jamie said, is to reconstruct the federal government and get rid of employees that don't feed into the MAGA 45 conservative Republican garbage. All right. So let me just take it back to fundamentals. I was on a call with members of the Commonwealth of Virginia, members of the governor's office of the Commonwealth of Virginia several weeks ago. And they asked several corporations to come, talent acquisition, recruiting professionals to come and help them figure out how they are going to fill over 200,000 vacant jobs in Virginia alone. They were damn near in tears begging us for our ideas on how we were going to do that. So we're just talking about Virginia. 200,000 jobs unfilled. So let's talk about the entire federal government. Jamie's going to tell us how many people are in the federal government.
Well, we have over
And
2 million in federal
and
employees.
how are we supposed to refill and fill all of those vacancies?
Well, they're not doing all 2 million. Nobody misquote me as saying that. It's not all 2 million.
Hold on, Jamie. How are we
Okay.
supposed to go and refill and rehire a bunch of federal employees and we can't fill $200,000 in one Commonwealth, Jamie?
Yes. Well, to be very clear, it's not all 2 million, 2 point something million federal employees. It is, but it is tens of thousands. It would be about 60% of OMB. It was under something called Schedule F. The Office of Personnel Management, OPM, has, under the Biden administration, put things in place to prevent this. How they plan to do this is they're keeping a database of people they want to hire and a list of feds they want to get rid of for being too politically active, despite the fact that feds are covered by the Hatch Act. Now, coming from Loudoun County, I can tell you, I thought the right objected to lists, but here we are. So, I mean, my main concern is that we want to have a competent federal government that serves the American people. I have had the utmost, it has been an incredible privilege for me to support federal careerists for the last several decades. And I did this for many presidential administrations. I worked just as hard under the Trump administration as I have under the Biden administration, as I have under the Obama administration, to serve the American people. And I guarantee you, that's how federal careerists operate as well. Honesty and integrity is the most important competency for federal careerists. And are there some bad apples in every occupation, but in the federal government, they're few and far between. Also, feds are pretty much making less money than they'd make in the private sector. So if you have nefarious intent, you're probably not going to the federal government as a careerist to do it. The appointee positions have already existed. But we need to keep in mind, they have a list of feds they want to get rid of. That's public knowledge. And they have a list of folks they want to hire. And if we look back to what the Trump administration did before, which was to understaff many civilian agencies so much that they could not function, so that he could then point over there and see that agency doesn't work, we need to end it. And Biden, and I know this is behind the scenes for most Americans, but in my opinion, Biden has done a remarkable job of rebuilding those important federal capabilities. I don't want big government either, but big government is when the government intrudes into your life, when government doesn't work, when the potholes aren't filled, when they screw up auditing your tax return. That is what big government is. It's not necessarily more federal employees. And the lie that is being told is that the government will be intrusive and less effective if we have more federal employees. That's not true. We want to have the right number, not too many, not too few. And if we get rid of careerists because there's this deep state lie. There is no deep state lie. And if we get rid of these loyal, proficient government employees, I'm going to call it right now, I think they can get rid of what OPM did to try to prevent this. And what is going to happen is we're going to have to fill those positions to get the work done with contractors, which are going to cost us about 3 times the cost of a Fed. So do not get fooled into thinking this is fiscal conservatism. This is not.
So Jamie, I need you to explain a few acronyms and then we're going to wrap it up. I need you to tell the people what OMB is. I need you to tell the people what was the other one? OMB.
Office of OPM. OMB is the office.
And explain what the Hatch Act is.
Yeah. Well, I'm not an expert on the Hatch Act. I didn't go to law school, but I'll give you a little bit because I am a workforce strategist. Office of Management and Budget is under the Executive Office of the President, and it carries out the president's agenda by setting rules and guidelines that go through the entire executive branch of government. They also are very involved in the budget. If we want that, and yes, there are already lots of appointees in it, and there should be the view to carry out the platform of the elected party. But what we really also want is people who understand how to do this efficiently, which means you've been in the job for a while. It means you didn't get there last week, how to do it effectively, and we'll follow the rules in service of the American people. The entire purpose of our government is to be of, for, and by the people, not just of, for, and by one party. The other group that I mentioned is the Office of Personnel Management, which sets workforce and human capital rules for the federal government. Under Title V, there are some other ones, but they do most of it for the federal government. And then there was a third thing, which is the Hatch Act, which provides protections for federal employees. Your political views in the private sector by law are actually not protected. So unless you have a collective bargaining agreement, a state law, or a local law, it is actually legal to fire you for being a Democrat and a Republican in most locales. Feds, however, are covered by the Hatch Act. And although they have some restrictions on what political speech they can have while they're at work, their political speech when they are at, outside of work, they have much better protections than the rest of us, which I believe would be something else that would get, I've not seen this as Project 25, but if I had nefarious intent, like I think some of these folks do, that's what I would go after next. But I do want to be very clear. I think the folks on the other side of Project 25 are still good people and good Americans who want what is best for the country. I don't think that they're thinking through the unintended side effects of this. One of which would be if Trump wins and puts this through and replaces all these federal employees with appointees, when a Democrat comes in next, they're going to have to do the same thing. They're going to have to get rid of those appointees who were just there for partisans and not skills and try to fill them all again. Shit show, pardon my language, does not even begin to describe it. I don't want the Democrats to have that much power either. We want the federal government run by competent, capable careerists whose allegiance is to the Constitution and the American people, not to Donald Trump and not even to Joe Biden.
Thanks for that explanation, Jamie. I hope those of you that are watching this live, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. But I would like to hear from Soraya, because Soraya is the youngest member of this team, and she's in her 20s, and she represents the younger generations who are watching all of this unfold. So Soraya, if you will start us wrapping up this pod, and then right at the end, we're going to tell you when you're going to see us again. But I would like to hear from Soraya and what she wants her peers to know.
Hi. So I think generally speaking, for people in and around my age, we recognize and understand, our options between Trump or Biden and the potential crap show that this could be. I think what we want is to feel supported in coming into an economy that is not so great. You can forget about trying to purchase a home at this point, let alone renting. And just being able to kind of live your life and not have to live paycheck to paycheck. And student loan debt is a very real problem. And I think our generation, my generation, just wants to feel supported. And I mean, me personally speaking, Biden is the only way that I feel like we could even sift through all that mess. I don't see Trump ever getting, if anything, he's going to increase, taxes and all and make it a bigger problem. But yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. I think we, for the most part, know that like Biden is the option. It's just what is he going to do after,
I want to hear from Mary. I'm sorry, I want to hear from Kim, then Mary, and then I'll close us out. And then Mary will talk about when you're going to see us next. Mary, go ahead.
I think you wanted Kim to go.
I'm sorry, Kim, you go, and then Mary, you go.
I think it's a good segue what Soraya said. Once we get past this point, the question is, what do we do next? And I think to expand on that, it's really, what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
That is the piece. It's not, well, we had this in office or we made this election. Whatever side of the coin you're on. I'm not going to speak for, one against the other. I have my personal belief. It's my personal belief. You're going to have your personal belief. But what are you going to do after the election takes place? That is where the true work begins. Right now, this is just the technicality. This is just, potentially the continuation of the torch or the passing of the baton. But once that happens, what are we, the people, going to do to make sure that our government operates in a way that is beneficial to all of us? It is not just about your belief, my belief. I'm a Christian, but I coexist with all faiths. That is the premise of this country, the freedom to be able to be who you are without persecution. So while, yes, in my school, I would love to have Jesus present, but I'm not in school autonomously by myself. I'm with all of the different variations of Americans that exist, and all of them have a right to feel at home in their country. Their sexual orientation. I'm heterosexual, but I coexist with all different variations of love, and they too deserve a space. So, whatever your belief, it's what is the work that we are going to do after this election. That is where the strategy comes in. So I would charge myself as well as everyone else to start thinking on that level, not what you're going to do come election time, but what you're going to do post election.
Mary.
Yes, I'm in agreement with Kim on a lot of different fronts. I too am not a party voter. I vote for the best candidate. If I need to cross a line, I will do so to get whoever I feel is that best choice. I also feel that we're just in a space right now where someone wants to just kind of overtake and be the sole voice for everyone, and that's not fair, because again, you're not speaking for, again, what Kim said, you're not speaking for the LGBTQ community. You're not speaking for that immigrant who came to this country for a better life and had to leave some of the family members there until they were able to get enough money to support to get a home for them to come to here. you know um, our educational system is also going to be on the chopping block, should Trump get in office. Worrying about the difference between my daughter and I right here. I had to, we had to fight to get women's rights and, abortion and birth control and all those different things. I can't see a man telling my daughter what to do with her body. I can't see the government telling her what she can and cannot do with her body. That's hers. I can't even, according to her doctor's office, I can't even, tell her or see her medical record. She has to give them permission to talk to me. So how can the government and a bunch of men tell this young woman what she could do and not do with her body? That's another discussion we have to have, And so hopefully we will get to that discussion and a lot of others. And, us coming together like this is important. We want to provide everybody with not only comfort, but answers, some information. We want to be able to provide those answers to questions that you may have. So feel free to ask those questions if it's available in the video, in the comments, because those are things that we can look into and come back with answers. We are trying to do this on a weekly basis, once a week. It may be more recorded than live. We haven't really decided that yet, but we can look at trying to do things on Saturday evenings, if that works for everybody. But do know that when we start something, we finish it. That's the one thing I can say about these group of ladies here. We started this show back in 2020, and saw the need that we needed to come back and do it again. And we're not going to stop midway. We're going to ride this out.
And we're welcoming everyone to come into this fight with us. It is a fight, people.
Yeah.
I got 3, Mary. Mary, what is that website you mentioned to me earlier? We can share with everyone watching where they can kind of start doing their research. What was the name of that website?
Fair Fight.
Fair Fight. Is it fairfight.com,
I
.org?
believe it's .org. If it's not .org, try .com, but I know it's Fair Fight. Can you check and see if it's, I think it's fair.
And then once you get it, Soraya, just put it in the chat, put it on the Facebook chat, or I can put it in there. I want to close out by saying 3 significant points.
Yeah.
Kim said, what are we going to do after the election? But I want to challenge us even further. What are you going to do tomorrow? Those of you that have listened to us, what are you going to do tomorrow to get started on working in your community, on your street, on your block, getting a small group together? Okay. And let's not forget, the Republicans and the MAGAs are working inside the churches in Loudoun County. Don't forget that. They're getting their agenda in the pulpit.
It's happening out in Washington State too.
And-
Y'all think we're all deep blue? Not so much.
And Sunday is still the most segregated day of the week in churches. All right, look, let's not get it confused. Okay. What are we going to do tomorrow was the first point. Second point, women, I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you, women. You all do know that women decide elections. We do. We decide elections across the board. So I want you all to get dead serious about the effect of women and what's about to happen in our local and our national elections. Okay. I want to address the 55 percenters. You know who you are. The 55% of white women that voted for Trump in the last cycle. What y'all get ready to do? Because I see y'all. You're not slick. I know where you are. Okay? I want y'all to know that I know where you are and I know what you're doing. Okay? We're going to win. We're going to vote and we're going to win. That is fairfight.org. Is that right, Mary? You're on mute.
Sorry. Fairfight.com.
fairfight.com. I'm putting it in the chat on Facebook. Fairfight.com. Just start there, people. Just start there.
And they have volunteer opportunities there. You can get information on that site. It's very helpful. And also in the group, we'll be posting that link is actually already in the group. They'll help you in any state to find places to volunteer. And we'll also be posting more of that from other groups as we go along.
Okay. Jamie, did I miss anybody? Jamie, any departing remarks before we sign off here?
Good. Just get everybody out there to vote. We can win this. The Project Hope. Yeah. It's either Project Hope, which is us, or Project 2020 Nope. I mean, really, those are our options. Project Hope, which is us, or Project 20 Nope. We have 2 choices. Choose wisely. And I do want to say, to Vanessa's point, for the 53% of white women who voted for Trump in 2016, we want y'all back. You do not have to stick with that mistake. It is okay to learn and grow and realize what you got yourself into. Come on back. You're welcome to be riding with Biden, or at least riding with democracy. We would be happy to have you back. You are welcome. You are not just welcome. Come on back. You are one of us.
All right, ladies, thank you so much. We ran over a little bit, but that's expected to happen. So I want to thank all of my good, awesome friends here, Jamie, Kim, Mary, Soraya. We're going to be back in a week. We will be posting on all social media channels our next podcast schedule. And we hope that more of you will join us, and we hope that more of you will share what we're doing. We're going to have guests on the podcast. We're going to have folks that are on the front lines that know how important this is. Democracy is under attack, whether you want to admit it or not. Ladies, good night, and we will see you all soon.